I'm making a video for a recipe called Mbahal. This is the main ingredient. It's locust beans. I only had one request for this video by Sumareo. That's the YouTube channel. Okay, so you need a lot of locust beans, rice. I'm using long grain. I usually use basmati all the time, but just with this recipe, I think it's a bit precarious to be using basmati. Not to say you can't, but I'm just going for the long grain. Fresh fish and smoked fish as well. Then this is salt fish. So for the vegetables, it's garden eggs, okra, and Scotch bonnet peppers. Then I have the fish stock cubes, couple of onions, and this is peanuts. It's not roasted, it's the raw one, but it's ground. And in substitute of this, in fact, some people would not use this. They would instead use peanut butter, and with the peanut butter, you'd need to blend it with this. So if you didn't have this, just have a couple of tablespoons of peanut butter, and when you see me blending this, then you do so as well. And salt. Now this is butter, lemon, and palm oil. This, I've only put it here to show you how to actually eat this dish. So when you're done, people would like to put, sometimes they use like ghee. You could use ghee or butter or palm oil. I am more of a palm oil kind of a person. And lemon, you always have lemon with this. I'm not saying it's essential, but it's just one of those things. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is to put some lemon on the fish. And some salt. Okay, now this is going to go in the fridge. So the next thing I'm doing is the rice. This is a whole kilo, 1 kilo of rice. Now what I'm doing here is I am coming and just washing this rice to anything. I'm really going to scrub it. That's because I just want to get a lot of starch out of it. When I cook rice, I usually like to pour the starch out. With this recipe, I really can't do that, so this is when I get to do something like this. I also do it for jollof rice, by the way. I do have a couple of videos on jollof rice, but I never really did say. Maybe I was just trying to, you know, cut all the little things that I do. But I'm just coming and doing this a lot. And then I'm going to drain off the water and just let it, you know, dry. So that's the rice. You can see how white, cloudy it's gone. And I'm going to do this 2-3 times. I obviously wash the rice when I'm making just plain white rice anyway. But because I usually use basmati, I don't really go in scrubbing it because I don't want to end up with broken basmati rice. So I would just wash it, but not really aggressively as I'm doing with this one. This is, again, a whole grain, and it, you know, it can withstand that. So these are the vegetables. These are the 2 onions and 2 Scotch bonnet peppers. One of them I've halved because I've put 1/2 here in the locust beans. I'm going to put some salt there as well. And remember, I said if you didn't have this or you didn't want to use it, you'd need the peanut butter. I would say, well, it would depend on how much rice you're making. For instance, for me, I would have put 2 tablespoons of peanut butter here. Not really heaped ones, you know, level ones. So that's all I'm doing with this because I have the ground one. Right, so now we're going to blend the onions and the peppers. This is cold water, and We've just started. You could use the hot water if you want. I'm putting in the fish stock cubes. I'm putting in 4 of them. And that's the onion and Scotch bonnet peppers we were blending. That's the 1½ peppers and 2 onions. Next, I want to blend the locust beans and the ½ pepper. It's got some salt in there. Don't forget, if you didn't have the ground peanuts, you needed the peanut butter. I didn't wash this because it doesn't need it. Oh, am I lazy? That's the locust beans I've been doing in the food processor, so I'm just going to leave it now till I need it. The rice that I've been washing, I've drained it off the water and we just leave that there as well. The saltfish, I want 1 large piece, which is here. So, yep, and the mackerel, the smoked fish, I have 3 fillets here. So, I'm going to now flake them. For me, I always take the skin off. I don't put it in there, but there's no harm. That's the onions in there. It's 17 minutes. So I'm just going to give it about 2-3 more minutes. And for the fish, the smoked mackerel, if you happen to buy this one, you see right in the middle here, just try and take this off because you have some lethal bones in there. They're quite small, but they're very thick and fairly easy to get it off, like you can see. That bit especially. Yeah, and there's just a little thinner line down there. I've flaked the mackerel and I'm going to put that plate in the fridge just because of the fish. I've taken off the salt fish and I've put it on the fresh fish, which I've just taken off out of the fridge. Now this, you want to come and put it into this broth here we're making. So I'm going to transfer everything right in there. Okay, the vegetables need to go in as well. And now you just want to cover. I've just let a tiny bit off there, the edge. And I'm doing that because I don't want to overcook the fish, and I'm worried that if I don't cover it, the fish will cook before the vegetables, and I would just rather take all of them out together. Right, so everything is cooked, ready to be taken out. I just wanted to say with the fish, you know, try and not to overcook it. Who wants that anyway? But, you know, just look, like these are the heads and you can see they're still intact even though they were right at the bottom and the pot is quite crammed. I have, you know, quite a lot left for me to take out because I used 4. So, yeah, just be aware of that cooking time. I've taken everything out of the pot. All we have is just the onions and the pepper. 15 minutes. Right, this is everything here. By the way, if I can just say, I'm cooking this with fish, but this is a dish that's only cooked with either pork or fish. I don't eat pork, so I've cooked mine with fish. And not to say that you can't cook it with anything else, but really, these are the 2 main, you know, ones that are used to cook Mbahal, so there you go. Right, so I'm going to put in the rice now. Actually, before you put in the rice, make sure you taste for your salt. I've already tasted for mine. And I've added more. I did have the salt cubes here before, and I salted a couple of things, but you need to taste the salt. And when you taste this broth, actually, you need it to be slightly salty because you're putting in rice in there. So not just, oh, okay, it seems fine. It's not soup. You would need to add the rice. So make sure, it's there. So it covers the rice. I have the rice in there now, all of it. Now this is very tricky, and I really do feel for the people who don't have a sense of how to cook these things, because they always ask you, what's the ratio of the water to the rice? I guess I am just so used to cooking that I can just tell. I never measure any of these things. I open a packet of rice, I know I'm going to cook the whole, the half. And I could just tell, like for instance now, the only way I can say to you is, if you could see the spoon, if we dip it in, it's settling right at the top of the rice, so really there, here. I'm not even going to say how many centimeters that is. I hated math. I have no idea how to say that word. Okay, and that's it really. Can you also see when I swirl it around how it is? By the way, the whole time we're cooking this, it's on high heat. I haven't actually turned it down at all. We're still on high heat. I will turn it down later. Now you just want this to cook and to absorb it. I've brought these things nearer. That's the locust beans and the ground nuts, peanuts. The smoked fish is in the fridge. We'll bring that out later. As for the things you've taken out, this goes in the oven, in the microwave, and they're done. They're ready to eat. Just when you're done, then you use them. What I can say with the liquid and the rice is, okay, for instance, I started with 750 ml. You must hear this a lot if you do watch my videos, and that's because I just fill my kettle with water, cold even, and then I just pour it, and I know the kettle is 750. That's why I always say that. So that's what I started with. I didn't add or take away any, and I used 1 kilo of rice. And okay, I was coming to make a point. Oh, okay. It's always better to have less water than more water. So let's say you were mixing this right now and you started to get nervous. All you need to do is just take a bowl, a cup, and take some of the broth out and leave it there. Don't pour it out down the sink yet. Just leave it. And you will see, if it begins to dry up and you think, oh, this is not going to cook even when I cover it, then there you go. Just pour back your broth as much as you think you would need. I hope that makes sense. Also, just to say, please don't stand here and keep stirring the rice, because when you do that, you're creating this risotto porridge effect, and it will start to get mushy because you're bruising the grain itself, rubbing it against each other while it's cooking. So the starch is going to rub off, this gets thick, and there you go with your soggy rice. Just leave it. You can tell if you think, oh, that's been there for a while, I need to, turn it around a bit now. Then you do that. So just be careful with that. Okay, so for me, this is what I do. I just come in here, and if I do this, I can tell it's beginning to dry up. It's at 102, and can you just see? There's some liquid there, but it's nearly all gone. Now you need to see a bit of liquid in there. Now the next thing we're going to do is to put in the locust beans in there. You want to make a hole, a well, right in the middle, and you pop it in there. Now right now I'm turning this down to 2. My highest heat level is 6. It's going right down to 2. When you make the well in the middle, don't have it all the way to the bottom. Leave a bit of rice there, because the locust beans have a strong aroma of their own. You don't want them smelling and burning as well. Okay, now what I'm doing here is I'm going to cover this well, and as you can see, so you take from the edges and you bring forth to cover. So you do this all the way until everything is covered, the locust bean I mean. And if you saw the amount of locust bean I put in the blender earlier, I am not using everything. Honestly, for me, I never get to figure out how much I need. I will only know when I put it in the rice, so I probably used about 2/3. So I'm going to put that in the freezer. Okay. Now, you need to put in the ground peanuts. And that just goes all over, everywhere. And the fish. It's out of sight. I need to bring it forth. And here's the fish. Okay, you just want to pop everything there. Causing mayhem. Okay, and then you cover. And that's it. Don't touch this now. 107. So it's done now. We're at 146. By the way, that frying noise isn't this pot I'm cooking. Just making some chicken stew there. So with this, I would say, let me switch it off. Some people prefer to serve the locust beans separately, so what they do now is go in there and basically take it out and pop it in a soup bowl and then mix these together. And another way you would even find this is, remember I said some people don't use the ground nuts, so again they would separate the, what's it called, the locust beans, and then they would also take this, the fish out. And I just remembered, I was telling you earlier about the meat that you would use to cook this. For the pork, I don't remember the smoked fish being used in pork. In fact, I know for sure that you shouldn't use smoked fish when you make the pork. So there you go for that one. Okay, so for me personally, I don't do all that separating thing. Remember I was saying I never know how much locust beans I need until I put it in the rice, then I can gauge. So I am confident enough that if I mix it, I'm not going to end up with a rice full of locust beans, and that's all I'm going to take. So I am happy with this. For me, what I do is I'm going to mix everything together right in this pot right now. I've mixed everything through. You could see the rice. It's not mushy at all. And here it is.
This bee has been felled by bee measles.
So that's the fish and vegetables and the lemon and the palm oil or butter. So basically you would just, I don't know, scoop out a bit and put it on top of the rice. I don't know why people do this really. Maybe it's because this isn't cooked with any oil, so I don't know. But it's really nice. Like I said, I'm more of a palm oil person. I don't ever eat it with butter. I like to eat it with palm oil. And I don't do it all the time. It's not like it goes together. It's just something that people do. So you would just, you know, take this. Obviously, have it all in liquid already because it's usually congealed. And just, you know, drizzle it over the rice. And that's it, really. Thank you for watching.